Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 spoilers. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Tessa wonders if her marriage is doomed. In the Young and the Restless Monday, October 27th episode, Tessa's dream about kissing Daniel took a dark turn. Kane informed Lily about the AI heist, and Daniel received a scolding from Phyllis and Danny. The Young and the Restless events. On The Young and the Restless, Adam and Chelsea. Tessa dreamed about giving Daniel a passionate kiss as she was sleeping in a hotel suite. She responded that they had spoken enough when he inquired whether she was certain. They kissed again and collapsed on the bed. A police officer knocked on the door and told Tessa to come out. The officer said that she was going to arrest Mariah for attempted murder when Tessa, who was only partially clothed, opened the door. Tessa jolted to her feet in bed. Wearing sunglasses, Daniel walked into crimson lights and settled into a chair on the terrace. When Phyllis entered, she made fun of him for posing as his rock star father and avoiding photos or signatures. He looked terrible, so she took off his shades and assumed he had had a bad night. When Phyllis bluntly inquired as to why Daniel had become intoxicated, she suspected it had something to do with Boston. Daniel denied getting inebriated alone, despite Phyllis's assumption to the contrary. After she had left, she inquired as to if he had attended his father's sorry excuse for a bachelor party. As Danny walked in, Phyllis said that the marriage wouldn't last until Christmas. Daniel acknowledged that when the vacation to Boston hadn't gone as planned, he and Tessa had attempted to decompress. It had gotten a bit out of control, Daniel acknowledged. Phyllis insisted on knowing the extent of the situation. Danny believed that Tessa had been unhappy, but he claimed that they didn't need specifics. They had consumed a lot of wine and whiskey, although Daniel clarified that he had attempted to fetch Tessa some food and assist her in pacing herself. Although Phyllis appreciated Daniel for being a friend to Tessa, she was disappointed that things weren't clear-cut for him. Nothing else had happened, Daniel insisted. Phyllis questioned whether his heart was also hungover. Phyllis laughed at Danny's evident astonishment at Daniel sharing his feelings with her. Daniel explained that he had been duped by his mother into confessing his love for Tessa. Phyllis and Danny argued, and he surmised that she had been judgmental and inquisitive when Daniel had expressed his emotions. Phyllis remembered that she had warned Daniel not to pursue Tessa, but he had disregarded her advice and was teasing catastrophe. Danny vowed that all he and Phyllis wanted to do was check on Daniel. Daniel said he was relieved that Tessa had just saved him from the Titanic as he moved aside to answer her summons. He reassured Tessa that she wasn't the iceberg he had struck despite her concerns. When she joked that a whiskey truck had struck her, he said that he had also been struck by the same vehicle. Since Tessa wasn't prepared to face the outside world, she invited Daniel to breakfast in her suite. Daniel abruptly announced his departure to his parents. After losing Heather, Phyllis bemoaned the fact that Daniel's heart was wounded and questioned how much more he could endure until it never healed. Perhaps Tessa seemed safe enough for Daniel to take care of without feeling like he was betraying Heather, thought Danny. After urging Phyllis to give Daniel some space, Danny shifted the conversation to her new boss's situation. By inquiring about his plans for getting married, Phyllis sidestepped the topic. Danny believed that by ceasing to criticize his relationship with Christine, Phyllis could also find happiness. Danny inquired as to if Phyllis was waiting for a call as she nervously checked her phone. He had his destiny, she thought, and she had hers, and it would be fantastic. Phyllis was horrified when Danny thought she was anticipating a romantic proposal. He retorted that not everyone objected to having someone to ground them and prevent them from making rash decisions, while she sneered that some women wanted to live a full life without a guy making all the decisions. Phyllis was adamant that she was competent and that anyone who stood in her way would not be. Victor sent Phyllis a text message inviting her to visit the property. When Danny looked over her shoulder, he saw with horror that Victor had contributed to her fate. What had she gotten herself into, he asked. Daniel brought coffee to Tessa's suite. He looked awful, Tessa said, adding that she had placed an order for room service. Not only because of the drink, she moaned that she was a mess. If Daniel wanted to go, she understood. If she had ordered hash browns, he inquired. Tessa said over breakfast that she and Daniel didn't need to discuss what had transpired, but they had no one else to confide in. The idea of giving his parents the whole tale made Daniel cringe. Tessa inquired as to whether he believed their kiss had been an error, but they both acknowledged that they didn't. He heard about Tessa's dream, which she described as intense. Tessa felt that Mariah was in serious peril, but she wasn't sure what the dream represented. Daniel attributed the dream to being intoxicated and disoriented, particularly after some guy had expressed his love for Tessa. Tessa acknowledged that she and Daniel had a connection that was very important to them both, but she refused to categorize what they shared. For him, Daniel referred to it as a life raft, although he acknowledged that it was limited. "As long as I'm married," Tessa answered. She revealed that she had questioned whether their relationship was over while she was in Boston visiting Mariah. Chelsea inquired about Connor's Halloween plans with Adam at the Genoa City Athletic Club. She was amazed that after his nervousness had kept him confined to routines, their son now enjoyed activities and travel. Kane cut in and said Victor hadn't been picking up his phone. Adam yelled that no one in the community would allow Kane to waste their time again and that his father owed Kane no talk. The well had dried up, Adam remarked, and he advised Kane to locate another one. Kane remembered that Adam had stayed after being hit by restless style on multiple occasions, and he wanted to follow in Adam's footsteps. Adam maintained that he had loved ones there, but Kane had no family or friends and could operate his company from anywhere in the world. Kane retorted that since Adam had damaged his reputation, he might as well remain there. Kane and Lily moved to another table after Lily joined them. Adam was hoping that Lily wouldn't offer Kane an excuse to stay. Chelsea pondered whether Lily believed Kane had changed his mind and was no longer interested in blowing up the planet. Connor wants to host a last-minute Halloween party for his buddies at the ranch, Chelsea revealed with excitement. Chelsea was surprised that Adam didn't believe Connor's wish to mingle was a huge thing, as Adam recalled that Connor had thrown a party for his teammates during the summer. Chelsea declared that she wanted to jump up and down and cheer every day that Connor's symptoms were under control because she felt proud and relieved. Adam toasted to their son while holding up his coffee cup. Adam was asked by Chelsea if Connor's discussion of his new therapist came across as guarded. Adam stated that Connor had expressed uncertainty about the man, but he believed this to be reasonable given the amount of work Dr. Evans had done with Connor. The fact that Connor's previous therapist had moved away saddened Chelsea. Adam anticipated that they would all need some time to adjust to the new physician. Chelsea was concerned about the consequences if they didn't. Because his previous therapist had been a good fit, Chelsea felt that Connor was in a good place and that it was crucial that Connor at least liked the person who was treating him. Adam proposed that they advise the new doctor not to make any modifications that would result in a setback, as he believed it was sufficient justification to find someone else. Adam said that they were the experts in cases where their son was involved, and Chelsea was happy that they had discussed it as a team. Lily insisted on dealing with the AI program first, but Kane felt they could start off with light talk and eventually get beyond it. He told her that the program was no longer available since his system had been compromised. Lily testily said that they had nothing else to discuss and that the program had been the only thing that had convinced her to trust Kane. Each time she let her guard down, he failed, making her feel foolish. He pleaded with her to stay, but she spit that she was done with him. Kane said that there was no benefit to his hiding the program, and he volunteered to show Lily the tech report. Kane expressed remorse that his firewalls had not been sufficient and promised to keep his promises to provide her with the application. Although he was hesitant to name the perpetrators, Kane revealed that he had a solid suspicion. He wasn't telling her anything, which annoyed Lily because she was wasting her time. Lily begged him to give her a reason to trust him, but Kane claimed that she was the only person he could trust. Lily didn't understand why Phyllis would betray him, but Kane suspected that either Phyllis or Victor was responsible for the crime. Kane acknowledged that Phyllis had been faithful when it benefited her, but he had recently shifted his strategy to concentrate on repairing his reputation, even though she was still determined to rule the world. Lily reprimanded Kane for creating a hazardous weapon that he was unable to control and said that he was responsible for whatever happened. Kane promised to make things right. While Victor's anger was focused on a single man, he planned to concentrate on Phyllis, who had nothing but desired everything. Lily told him that since Phyllis wouldn't waste her shot, he should be ready for anything. Kane promised to get the program so that he and Lily could jointly destroy it. Lily warned that time was running out for them and everyone they cared about, anticipating that the thief would be 3 steps ahead of them. The family serves as a reminder of the purpose of soap operas. Welcome to the Young and the Restless Daily YPP for a brief, you're almost halfway through, recap of the most incredible or what the hell did we just watch moments from today's episode. Now, let's get started. The Young and the Restless events. Daniel on the Restless and the Young. Like other soap operas, The Young and the Restless explores a wide range of topics, including humor, social issues, romance, adventure, and intrigue. But the main focus of the play is the sense of family. Fans tune in every day for that reason. As only families can, Daniel and his parents, Danny and Phyllis, sparred at Crimson Lights in today's episode, which was a fantastic depiction of family on Y&R. Phyllis started the family drama by questioning her hungover son Daniel about his ongoing engagement in Tessa's life with her estranged wife Mariah. Phyllis doesn't want Daniel to suffer any harm, but it's too late because he was suffering from a bad hangover. Daniel benefited somewhat by Danny's entrance, since it changed the dynamic regarding whose parent Daniel should confide in. Danny inquired as to why his son had told his mother. "Because he loves and trusts me," bragged the redhead from The Young and the Restless. Daniel told his father. No, she tricked me, and she pretended like you told her something," as his hungover brain correctly recollected the actual events. Daniel buried his face in his hands as he and Phyllis attempted to outdo one another. Even though Daniel's heart was on the line, these sequences had a beautiful, recognizable, and somewhat whimsical cadence. Family members are able to communicate with one another in a way that no one else can, right? Thankfully, a call from Tessa saved Daniel. Daniel joyfully said to his parents, "This has been so much fun, but I've got to go," as he put on his sunglasses and left. "Dad, I love you. Mom, I love you. You guys try not to kill each other, okay? Do you want further information? We've got you. The greatest comprehensive Y&R recaps may be found online at Soap Central. You may even read all of them from more than 30 years ago. We also provide daily spoilers if you are unable to wait for the next episode. The 2 Scoops is as close as we can get to being a watching party without really being a show. So whatever you do this weekend, please remember to read it for some chuckles. Hey, admit it, we're funny. The best thing is that we want to know if you agree or disagree. Leave a remark below as usual. A woman on the verge of uncertainty, Tessa Porter. The Young and the Restless October 27th episode offers a moving and psychologically complex examination of Tessa Porter's emotional state. Between a nightmare and the present, Tessa must confront the agonizing prospect that her marriage to Mariah might be failing. Her narrative is about identity loss and the somber silence that ensues when a once passionate relationship starts to wane. It is not only about adultery or transient temptation. Tessa's subconscious struggles with confusion, longing, and guilt are shown in this episode, while her interactions with Daniel in the present show the emotional safety she craves but is unable to fully claim. A dream of guilt and desire. The emotional tone of Tessa's journey is established by her dream of kissing Daniel. A policeman interrupts the kiss to arrest Mariah for attempted murder, turning what starts as a private fantasy into a nightmare. The meaning is clear. Punishment and passion collide. Tessa's attraction to Daniel and the shame that accompanies it are both depicted in the dream as conflicting emotions. In soap operas, dreams frequently function as subconscious revelations. In Tessa's case, the police officer's interruption implies that despite her heart's deviation, her moral compass still points toward loyalty. In a figurative sense, Tessa is arresting or imprisoning Mariah in emotional treachery by doing this, which symbolizes her deep worry that her love for Daniel would endanger her marriage. The shock of the dream remains in Tessa's mind like the lingering effects of a secret when she wakes up. Her emotional state is captured in this first scene. She is caught between a need for connection and a fear of the repercussions. It's a dream about self-punishment as well as yearning. It indicates that Tessa is unable to escape the weight of her devotion, even in fiction. Confusion and connection, Daniel's breakfast. Unspoken tension permeates Daniel and Tessa's conversation when they meet for breakfast the following morning. These are both nursing hangovers, which are outward signs of more profound emotional fatigue. Their choice to share a drink following a challenging journey to Boston demonstrates their vulnerability to one another. The journey was already emotionally taxing for Tessa, and she began to doubt the strength of her bond with Mariah after their reunion. She hasn't felt understood with Mariah in a while, but now that she is seated across from Daniel, she feels at ease. They discuss their kiss throughout breakfast, each of them trying to explain it while subtly examining its significance. Daniel hesitates when Tessa asks if he believes their kiss was an error, confirming what they both already know. However, neither can afford to allow things to get worse. Tessa's statement, "Not while I'm married," is a call for self-control as much as it is a statement of boundaries. However, her hesitancy betrays her even as she says it. She acknowledges that she questioned whether their relationship was over while she was with Mariah. This confession is damaging in a subtle way. For the first time, Tessa expresses what she has been afraid for a while, that her marriage might not withstand the growing emotional gap between them. The emotional divide between Mariah and Tessa. The fact that Tessa is already spiritually estranged from Mariah, in addition to being enticed by Daniel, is what makes her predicament so interesting. The Boston trip was intended to serve as a bridge, an opportunity to restore intimacy between them. Rather, it turned into a reckoning. Once a kind of protection, Mariah's emotional walls now seem impenetrable to Tessa. Tessa's bitterness, the belief that Mariah's own behavior or emotional detachment is guilty of ruining their marriage, may also be represented by the dream of Mariah being arrested. Tessa interprets her dream as a warning that Mariah might be in danger when she tells Daniel about it. Tessa's intuition is more keen than Daniel's, who brushes it off as intoxicated misunderstanding. Dreams are frequently used as premonitions in soap operas, fusing narrative foreshadowing with emotion. Accordingly, Tessa's dream might portend actual conflict between the two women, not necessarily a crime, but rather emotional betrayal, mistrust, or an epiphany that will compel Tessa to make a decision. The arrest can stand in for an impending reckoning, a time when the truth has to be revealed. Daniel as the mirror of emotion. Daniel plays a complicated part in Tessa's tale. He serves as a mirror for Tessa's emotional needs, rather than just being a temptation or a rebound. Both have experienced heartbreak. Tessa's gradual loss of closeness with Mariah and Daniel's failed relationship with Heather. They detect a common loneliness in one another, a need to be seen and understood without passing judgment. Daniel describes their bond as a life raft that keeps them afloat in the midst of emotional devastation. However, life rafts are transient by nature. They are instruments for survival, not houses. Mariah's reserved manner stands in stark contrast to Daniel's emotional openness and sensitivity. Without requiring a solution, he affirms Tessa's sentiments, listens, and shows empathy. However, his involvement also makes distinctions hazy. Daniel unwittingly increases Tessa's emotional dependence by becoming her confidant. This paradox, two people consoling one another for aches neither can completely heal, is highlighted in the brunch scene. The mirror theme, relationship parallels. The way Tessa's inner anguish reflects the greater dynamics of relationships in Genoa City is one of the episode's strong points. The cyclical nature of love, remorse, and misunderstanding, the same forces that afflict Tessa and Mariah, is reflected in the friction between Phyllis, Danny, and Daniel's families. Tessa's confused emotions about vulnerability and control are mirrored in Phyllis's interference and overprotective tendencies toward Daniel. A thematic echo is provided by the episode's plotline about Kane and Lily's distrust issues with the stolen AI program. Betrayal and mistrust destroy relationships, whether they be romantic or professional. The repercussions of transgressing moral or emotional boundaries appear to be a problem for everyone in Genoa City. Thus, Tessa's predicament serves as a metaphor for the show's larger examination of truth, loyalty, and the ambiguity of morality. Tessa's emotional infidelity symbolizes the peril of unfulfilled emotional demands, much like Kane's stolen technology does. The challenge raised by both plots is the same. What happens if trust, which is the cornerstone of all relationships, is even slightly undermined? The identity crisis of Tessa. Tessa is experiencing an identity crisis as well. She has spent years using her music, her bond with Mariah, and her moral development from a difficult past to establish who she is. All three of the pillars are now shaky. Her moral compass falters under the weight of temptation. Her marriage feels distant, and emotional exhaustion has stifled her artistic voice. The dream episode, where authority over passion, represents the clash between her ethical constraint and her artistic spontaneity. She longs to feel alive once more, to experience something genuine, but she is afraid of the consequences of doing so. Her thought that perhaps it's the end pertains to more than just her marriage. It also concerns her identity. Once a believer in unconditional love and fresh starts, Tessa now wonders if love is enough to keep her going. Her story thus turns into a meditation on change. How individuals change, how relationships change, and how time and distance may skew even the best of intentions. In conclusion, we are at a crossroads. By the end of the episode, Tessa finds herself torn between two worlds, one characterized by emotional honesty with Daniel, and another by duty and commitment to Mariah. Her confession, her hangover, and her dream all come together to create a turning point. Even though she hasn't acted on her feelings yet, she is aware that acting as though nothing is wrong will no longer work. In typical Young and the Restless tradition, the episode intensifies rather than resolves her problem. This plot's strength is found in silent reflection rather than scandal or revelation. Is my marriage doomed? Is Tessa's query. It is a question that a lot of characters, and perhaps a lot of viewers, have asked themselves. It's a question of identity, love, and having the guts to confront reality when it contradicts the fantasy.